Good afternoon, dear faculty members. I hope you all doing well. Good afternoon, Saurabh sir. I hope my voice is audible to everyone. Saurabh sir, is I'm audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah, so you can start the day. You can start the session for the day.
Sure, sure. Just allow me 2 minutes.
Yeah. Saurabh sir, are we going to start?
Yeah, just I'm starting. I'm starting my system. Just a minute.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Hello everyone. Uh, Welcome to this day two, and we can just start. Sorry for this delay. Actually, it's in the middle of something. Okay. So, idea today is like again very simple. First of all, thank you so much. Yesterday, it was great response. A lot of people have connected on a through LinkedIn. Thank you so much for all this response. Right. Definitely, like whenever possible, we always try to, ma'am, someone have a question. So someone has raised the hands. Sure. So yes, yes. From our side, we always try to give the best that we can, and yes, sure. In future also, whenever required, we'll always be there. So yeah, we are I think good to go. So what we'll be doing is so till yesterday, we had a chance to talk about the complete history about this particular field. Like we talked from the very start, we went till the complete end to understand how this particular field is working, and what are the different ways or how exactly the evaluation of this whole field has actually started, right? So I think that was a pretty broad discussion that we had. So today idea would be, we'll again start with understanding. Now see, we have already discussed about how the evaluation happened. So now we'll just start upon to understand what exactly the generative AI is and what exactly the prompt engineering is. So in a span of, let's say, 3 to 4 days, the plan is to cover few things that I'll just tell you. uh, just a second. Okay. Ma'am, I'm not able to share the screen, if you can see.
Let me check. So you can share it. You have a forced access. Can you try it once again? Sir, you are on mute actually.
Yeah, now I'm audible.
Yeah, you're audible.
Wonderful. Okay. Yeah. So in the last session, we were, onto a place to understand. We understood everything about field of NLP, how this particular field has evolved, and how important it is to, let's say, whatever chat GPT that we say, the evaluation of chat GPT actually started from here. So this was the first thing that started, and eventually, we went to the eras of transformer architectures. Okay, and then eventually the GPT models came into play. So first of all, in 2018, we had GPT-1. Okay, so there it was not that famous, because this is like basically a bird based model which was given by Google itself. And then eventually we had Google GPT 2.0, then eventually 3.5 came into play. And then evaluation started, like, to a very huge extent. Now guys, whenever we talk about any kind of transformer based architecture or any kind of model, so they are simply called as LLMs, called as large language models. Okay, so now when you say, okay, large language models means what? It is not like, see, if you talk about any simple machine learning, any deep learning model, you talk about any simple reinforcement model, so every single thing is the model itself, means it is also trying to perform a certain type of task. But anything or any kind of question that you ask, so just that kind of model. So because of that, then evaluation started, and the best way to interact, people started to figure out how exactly we can interact with this particular large language models. And this is where the field of prompt engineering came into play. Now guys, on a very one-to-one level, one thing I'll tell you, in the industries, we avoid using the very extensive prompts. I'll tell you why. I'll also tell you, let's in very from the very basics we'll go. What kind of prompts you should write, what kind of models you should use. Now, see, when you talk about large language model also, so it is not like, let's say you only have a one large language model, right? So you have like multiple. When you talk about a large language models, let's say you might know about Chat GPT, right? Okay, so like this also, like just similar to a Chat GPT, we have Cloud. Like you might have heard about Anthropic. Okay, everyone might have heard about DeepSeek. Okay, so these are, let's say, the kind of different models that are already there. So now see, when I talk about them, so they all are paid models, means what? After a certain limit of time, it is just like a subscription. Okay, you have to pay for that subscription, right? Eventually, you will see, they will ask for certain amount of money to be given to them. So up to certain limit, let's say you will have $5 or something as a free credits, and after that you have to pay for, let's say, every single click that you will do. So now when you talk about these ones, right, so these are just like an paid let's say paid hosted, I can say, paid paid hosted models. Now definitely their understanding is very very good, but similarly we also have the open source models. Now when I say open source models, so what do you mean by that? They're just like, you can use them for free. There is no such thing. Okay, you don't have to pay a single amount of rupees to them. So it's completely free of basis. And I always we also, as an industry, so we try to segregate the different tasks. Now, when you talk about, let's say, you want to build something that is on a very high level. Let's say you want to build some kind of let's say enterprise level education, let's say educational model. Okay, or let's say you want to build some kind of let's say you can just document readers. So in such kind of scenarios, we try to go for the paid ones, because now here the contextual understanding, you need to have very better understanding about it. But at the same time, now let's suppose you are trying to build a simple chatbot. Okay, now in such kind of scenarios, that let's suppose now let's talk about a chatbot of, let's say, Amazon, right? So what are the common questions that any user asks to a chatbot in Amazon? Very common. Let's say, when my order will be delivered, will come, right? Second would be, what is return policy? Okay, when uh, can I get the return details? In simple terms, what, there is very set of specific kind of questions in which you really don't need a very high level knowledge to explain those kind of questions. Even if you just use a simple kind of model, it can perfectly work for that. Okay, so when I say now this open source models, right, so we have the options like, if someone is exploring this field might know, but we talk about something called as llama index. So llama, so we have llama 2, and now also we have a llama 3. Okay, so basically it was given by Meta, Facebook. Okay, so they published this, an extremely powerful model. Okay, it is not like, it is anything less than what GPT is, but it's definitely GPT is now pretty well trained. Llama can fail into certain amount of, up to certain amount of level it can perform very good, but after certain amount of time it can fail. But as far as I would say, as far as your requirement goes, right, till the time you're not building something that is to be used by at least 1000 users minimum, okay, you are perfectly go with, go with the llama, right? There is no harm in that, like perfectly you can use it. Okay, then there are also tools like Olma. I don't know how many of you know about it, but Olma, so basically, guys, understand this Olma is just like an software, okay, where you can run the LLMs locally. Means you just need to download this software called as Olma, and on your system, means just like, it's just like way of using a WhatsApp. You just download it and you just use it. So it's just like that. So you can actually use this whole model. So you have multiple options in Olma. You can use Chat GPT. You can use I just told about, let's say, no Anthropic APIs like Cloud AI. You can use DeepSeek. Multiple models are already given over there, so you can just select anyone and you can use it in your own local system itself. There you don't even need an internet. Okay, so that is also like a good plus point. You can use it, but again, to install Olma, your system has to be very strong. Okay, so let's say now it's not about, let's say, using like these open source models, but for them what you need, you need to download these models to use in your own let's say in your own use case. So you definitely need a very good amount of GPUs and CPUs to handle such kind of models. So that is like one. Now you talk about something called as, there is something called as Mistral. So Mistral 7B was like, pretty famous model, which actually gave 95% similar results to Chat GPT in terms of summarization task. Okay, in terms of task. So very recent example I'll give you. So let's say for one of our clients in US, so he basically they're into the healthcare sector. So for them, we have built some software on top of OpenEMR. So OpenEMR is basically, you can just understand this as a a place where the complete database of different patients is stored. It's just like an open source model where you can store the database of different patients of your own, let's say hospital or anything. Okay, so what we did was, in that particular case, the doctor, one of the tasks that was, they wanted the summarized, let's say summarized story, or we can say, summarized history of a patient. Means why exactly they wanted. Now you can just imagine, let's suppose, usually we visit the doctors, right? So what they will say, okay, tell me what kind of medications you have taken, tell me for past 6 months what is happening to you, right? What are the different medications you might have taken. So they actually need a complete history, right? And even as a user, now let's suppose as a patient, if I'm going there, so in terms in even in technical terms, it is not possible to tell them, okay, what kind of things we did and all. Okay, so just to make their interface and experience more better, so what they did was, they had to build this simple summarization. So that was just one task of it. Definitely it was a very broad use case, but one of the tasks was summarization. So what the basic requirement was, automatically a model will take the complete history of a particular user, and before coming to a doctor, the patient coming to a doctor, so doctor will get the complete detailed summarized thing about that particular patient. So means before visiting only, doctor already knows, okay, what are things, what you are going through, what kind of medications you have taken, what kind of x-rays you have taken, so every single thing. Okay, so that was pretty good use case actually. So for that particular summarization task, we have purely used this Mistral 7B, and very very wonderful model. So guys, you can just imagine it, just like, two of the very top things are there. It's not like, okay, llama is there, it doesn't mean that, okay, it is like very very bad to what we are using as a paid ones. Yes, definitely OpenAI is very good. Definitely, now when you talk about the, say, education things, right? So I always suggest, try Cloud. It's called Anthropic API. I'll also show you now. Okay, so this Anthropic actually works wonderful, when it comes to educational things. So as far as the codes I have seen, right? Let's say, you want to generate the codes, no? The codes are generated much more better in the cloud rather than, cloud rather than your GPT. Very very good. They'll build it in very perfect way. So even the models, like, you might have seen, there are models, right, where you just need to give a prompt, and automatically it will write a code for you, right? So such kind of softwares are now available. So they also, maximum of them use the cloud as their backend only. Like they're also using the cloud as an API. Okay, so that is like second thing that we discussed about. So first I told you about Llama, second was Mistral, and like this, now see, you have like so many. Okay, I mean, if you talk about the complete Hugging Face architectures or Hugging Face library, I'll just show you what it is. Open source LLMs, Hugging Face. Yes. Okay. So if you just go to this, now open source, right? Now see guys. Now when I talk about LLM, right, means what? It is a large language model. So for every single type of task, see, now if you want to do a, let's say text generation, you will have a different set of, let's say, model to do that. If you want to, let's say, do an image generation, you will have a different type of model for that. Means people have actually trained the models for very specific kind of use cases also. Okay, you want to do a summarization task, don't worry, I have a something for you. Just use my API and get the complete summary about this particular part. Now I'm telling you this because these things are very very high, or very above what you call it as a GPT. Okay, because you see, GPT is just like one large language model. Yes, it has, like, let's say out of the hundreds and millionaires or billionaires people in the world might have, but there are a few which are very famous, right? So it's just like that, it's just a chat GPT. So it is not like, they, all the others are not performing well. They are being used completely in the industry. Every single model is being used in the industry. Okay, now I'll tell you how to choose a particular model for a particular task. Okay, now imagine, let's suppose, I'll show you first. Let's now get back to this one. See here. So open source text generation LLM Hugging Face models. So now when I talk about text generation, means what? Let's suppose you are trying to give some kind of, we just try to build summary, right? Okay, on this particular topic, I need a complete description about this particular topic. That's called a text generation. Now in this particular case, you will see that there is some model called as, they might have given here. Yes, here. Now, if you go to this particular library, right, Hugging Face, you will see that here the specifically tasks are mentioned. So now you can see audio, text to text, image to text means what? You pass an image and you get the text out of it. Then visual question answering, document question answering, video to text, right? Visual document retrieval. So object detection, image sentimation, image classification, text to image to text. You will see that guys, hundreds of different tasks are already done by people over here. They're already been done over here. Just need to, let's suppose now you thought, okay, yeah, it's fine, everyone is using GPT, why can't I use something different, why can't I do something different? So let's say you wanted to do something like image to text. Let's say you have an image and you wanted to build some kind of model for the students. Okay, let me just, it's not the open one. Guys, am I audible to everyone? Hello? 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 Hello guys, am I audible? Oh, sorry, I was not listening, so I thought I'm not audible. Okay, now let me just get again. Okay, now see here, guys. Now you can see this is for the text generation now. So what we have specifically a model for the text generation. Now again, I'll show you. Let me just get back and again start from the start. I think I'm not able to hear it. Yeah. Okay, now see here. Let's suppose now I have some task. I'll just tell you. Let's say, okay, I think I need to go back and completely do it. Okay, it's fine. Now see here. We were talking about the text generation. Okay, now let me just get back and again I'll do it. Yeah, now see here. Now let's suppose I'll just take, okay, now see here. For simple text generation now, I have so many different models which are you can actually use for this particular case. Now just guys imagine, okay, let's say you have like hundreds of such kind of models which are already trained. Now from that you might ask, okay, which one should be used maximum? Let's suppose now for something like, let's say you want to do something like text generation only. Okay, now always try to see which of these particular soft, let's say models have the maximum downloads. Okay, so these are, let's say, not too much, or you can say no, most downloads. See here now, 3.39K. So you can blindly go and directly use it, because see guys, when people are, okay, people are using it, people are getting the help for it, so why not to use it, right? So you can directly use it, so there you don't need to do anything. And best part is you get the complete detailed code how to write over here. You don't have to write any logic by yourself to get the perfect code about anything. You talk about OpenAI, you talk about any prompts, whatever you want to do, official documentation is the best thing that you can refer. Even that is what exactly we do. We don't rely on, as I told you, right, we never rely on any of the models to write a particular code for us, because what happens in that, you lose the control over your code. So what you do, okay, whatever he is writing, you are just okay with that. And after that, you need to debug that for a very long period of time, as I told you yesterday, right? It will write a code in 2 minutes, but we have to debug for 10 hours. Then what's the use of that? So we always try to go with our own, let's say thoughts. We always try to take the official documentation. In official documentation, you will always get the best possible, means you will always get the perfect results over there. Now imagine guys, let's suppose now everyone is talking about model, how easy it is to use. So when we say that Python is a no, let's say a simplest language that you can learn, you can just look at in front of you, right? Simplest way, what you are doing, just writing a one line of code. Okay, this auto tokenizer you are writing, and now you have got a model over there. Now from the tokenizer, you are from pre-trained model, you are simply writing the name of this model that you want to use. See, this is the model that we are using, right? Simply you are writing the name, and in here just simply give the what kind of prompts you want to have, and that's it, and just print the statement. That's it. You can just give, okay, you are the perfect user, you can write a prompt, and I will be giving you one particular topic, and you just need to give me the detailed summary of that particular topic, and that's it guys. Just print it. Within a 4 line of code, your code is done. At the same time, now if I have to do the same thing, let's say using a classical NLP, right? I'm just telling you, okay, classical NLP, it could have took me at least minimum 4 to 5 days to do it. The most important thing what I told you guys, for any kind of task, is the data. And this is where every single company fails, because see, even, and let's say as I'm a startup, I run a startup. So as a startup, it is almost nearly impossible to get the amount of data that we need. Yes, we have that expertise ki we can build something as good as GPT, but neither we have that resources, right? Neither we have that competition power, neither we have that much amount of money, or neither we have the biggest thing, that much amount of data. right? Let's suppose now their model, these are built by Google. So Google have the data about like what? They are the biggest. They have everything. Talk about Meta, they are everything. They have everything. So when you talk about these MNCs, right? So it is easy for them to invest that much amount of money, invest that much amount of they can get that much amount of data. So they actually can do every single type of thing. Okay. So in simple terms, guys, what we will not be limited to a prompting. So whatever kind of task you have, again, let's get back here now. See here, let's suppose. Uh, Let me again get back and I'll write something. Okay, let's suppose now let's imagine. Let's suppose you want to let's say build and topic, or let's say I'll say let's suppose image to text hugging face model. See guys, now if I just go to models, you will see that now these are all, see here, image captioning, donut base, captcha, OCR from captcha, magna from base. So you'll see that guys, let's say how many are there. See here guys, 27 lines means what? Just to do one single task. So these are all open source things, right? Means what? Tomorrow also you can just go and create your own thing. That is fine. See here, given by Microsoft, given by Microsoft, given by Microsoft, given by Microsoft. These are literally free, given by Alibaba. Okay. So means what exactly I'm trying to tell you is, guys, it is not a bad, it is never a bad idea to explore these open source APIs also. Yes, ChatGPT is just like one part of it. Yes, definitely it will perform. Even say, let's suppose other model is giving you the 100% result, or sorry, 70% result. GPT will give you 90% result. That much is fine. But getting the understanding about these things, it will never fail. That is like a best thing you can do. Now imagine, let's suppose to do one single task, you can literally have so many different APIs which are already available. Now again, what I told you, see here, guys. Now so what I told, let's suppose inside my let's say college or anywhere, I want to let's say incorporate a place where any particular person will upload an image, so automatically he will get the captions out of it. Okay. Now like this, now already AI models are available, right? Let's suppose now image to caption AI model, or let's say AI applications, and you will see that, see here guys, there are so many, see guys, so many things are there where you can easily just get the generators. Now see guys, now they have done this particular part and they have literally applied the pricing over here. What they have done? Nothing. Whatever API I told you, same API they're using here in the backend. That's it. Just the interface is created. Now upload a XYZ image and you will get the captions over here. Guys, am I audible? Did I lost my voice? Okay. Now I'm perfectly audible. Okay, sure. Not sure if I'm audible or not. Okay, fine. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, guys, first of all, everyone is understanding where we are going. Everyone is finding it interesting. Everyone is okay. Great, great. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, let's begin. Now, let's hear. Now, see, guys, what you did again, nothing very special. Just click on here, right? Again, you will go back. You will see that the detailed about this particular model, okay, what exactly this model does. Every single thing will be given on what kind of data this model was trained. Every single thing will be given here. See, you have the proper architecture given here. How it means what? Whenever you are passing an image, so yesterday I told you about something called as transformer based architecture, right? So all the models that you see here, all are 100% transformer based architectures. 100% transformers architectures. Easily you can see complete transformer architecture is there. Feed forward neural network is there, self attention is there, cross attention is there, by self attention is there, and finally you are getting the image. Now that is like very technical thing. Let's not get into that. But yeah, you can see, you can read about the see, first of all you can read the official paper of from here. Okay, now second thing, if you go below, see here guys, this is how exactly you can use a direct code. Okay, this is not a code. Yeah, you can go to API, I think. Yeah, you can just load an API from here. That's it. Just get an API from here, go to settings, get the API of this particular thing and use it in your own system. And that's it guys, you are perfectly good to go with. Okay, now imagine, let's suppose one more example. Let's say you want a model to, let's suppose now, PDF reader, Hugging Face. Let's say read AI PDFs over there. Means what? When you pass a PDF, very easily it can be able to answer all the questions from the PDF. Now that is like a very extensive thing that we do when you talk about any kind of financial things, right? So in the financial domains, we usually deal with risk analysis maximum. So in this, what we need to do is, we need to flag the anomaly detections, means anomalies, or we can say fraud detections, fraud transitions. Okay, we need to flag them. So in such kind of scenarios, usually they have, whenever they have any kind of their policies are there. Okay, let's suppose there is a user, and let's say a bank has flagged their certain amount of transition. So now definitely a user will ask to the bank, okay, why did you do that? So you should have a very proper answer to it, right? So in there, now we have reduced the human efforts now by 40% for one of the banks. Okay, we have reduced the human effort by 40%, so they don't need to call and bank explicitly to get the reason. Our AI model is directly generating. So what it is doing now, already all the policies are already stored at one place, right? All the policies are already stored. Okay, if certain amount of transition is stopped, then why exactly that is stopped, it's already written in the documents. So we are just taking the document, passing into the AI model, and we are getting the summarized detail about, okay, why exactly that transition was stopped. So now why exactly I'm telling you this? In such kind of scenarios, dealing with the PDFs comes in very extensive way. And even it's like, for you also might happen, you might need to go through the PDFs, might need to understand the PDFs. So similarly now, very easily you can read all this particular data in very one single. Okay, so guys, this was a simple, the only idea to tell you all about this is, along with the API, or along with the GPT or whatever thing we learn, right? Along with that, understanding about this open source models is always a best choice. And guys, let's say even at our level, right? Let's say if you want to implement a certain type of algorithm, or let's say certain type of model, we always start from here. We never directly jump to directly on GPT or something, because eventually they're paid ones, right? And eventually you have to pay for every single click that you are doing there. Now imagine, let's suppose they are charging, let's suppose 0.002 something like this per, no, dollar per click, example, right? It's not a price but example. Now imagine, let's suppose you have 1 million users in your website. Imagine, let's say 1 million into 0.002, just multiply it, like almost what, almost $1,000 bill you are getting at one single click. Now imagine, let's say now, let's suppose you are going on a GPT, right? So definitely now you will not ask one single question and go out of from there. Definitely will have at least 4 to 5 cross questions to it. Okay, now if it starts asking 4 to 5 cross questions, now imagine amount of pricing that will go per month, just per month bill itself. Okay, so that is never a feasible option. Like, in that also, like what we do is, we also try to flag the transitions, means we write the prompts in such a way. Prompt is one thing, but we also try to apply some kind of different flags to, distinguish between the different type level of question. Okay, what is the level of question? If it's too difficult, then only we try to pass it to a, and let's say final LLM. If it's simple, then we try to apply some simple models, as I told you, right? Mistral is there, Llama is there, we try to apply such kind of models. And we also try to take a lot of models from Hugging Face also, right? So it's all about exploration. So every day there is some more other new model is coming. So the more and more you will just read about it, better it will be for you. Okay, so guys, first of all, everyone is clear till here, like understood what are open source models and what are closed, or let's say paid ones. Yes, all good. Yes, everyone. Okay, okay, sure. Now guys, let's talk about, sorry, yeah, if anyone have anything to ask, right, feel free to, okay, we can definitely think about it. Now see, going forward, right, so we have three different steps I wanted to tell you about. right? So prompt is first, like we'll understand about prompting. Oh, what happened? Let me just check. Just a second. Hmm. Sorry. Okay, now see here guys, first of all we'll understand about the prompting, like what exactly the prompt engineering is. Okay, we'll try to understand, what are the different set of rules that we apply over there, right? What are the different techniques actually we do, apply to get these particular things. Now there are multiple ways. Simple prompts are there, there's one shot prompting, few shot prompting is there. Then there is like something called as COT, like chain of thoughts prompting is there. Then there is a react based prompting. So there are like multiple ways, right? From the very basic till the advanced will go. I have also prepared a very wonderful implementation, where we'll be going from very basic till advanced. So in this implementation, I'll again get back here. Okay. Uh, okay, I think no, not this one. Okay, I'll share it. In term. Okay. Uh, okay. Someone has a question. Sir, can you tell me the difference between LLMs and APIs? Okay. See now, understand here. And LLM. See guys, when you talk about an LLM, right? LLM. So LLM is called as a large language model. Means you can just say it's like an, let's say, you can say, and let's say your chat gpt is an llm. Okay, so now see guys, and what is api is simply called as application programming interface. Okay, and now let me, okay, first of all guys, see, you can imagine, let's say this llm that you say, right? So that is just like an engine. Imagine llm is just like an engine, and api, you can just say, api is just like an remote that controls the engine. Okay, that's just simple, let's say, yes. Okay, so let's suppose now if I just tell you in very simple terms. Now imagine, let's suppose, now see here, I'll tell you one simple example. Oh, okay, before that, do you have like any simple idea about what apis are, in simple terms? How many of you have an idea about apis, like what apis are basically? Yes sir, I think Yashin sir has asked it. Okay, no, fine, see here. Now in very simple terms I'll tell you. Now imagine, let's suppose, let's say you want to book a flight tickets. Okay, you want to book a flight tickets. So then what you did, let's suppose you wanted, let's say you want to book an indigo. You want to book an indigo. So now, do you need to go to an indigo site only to book the flight tickets of the indigo? Is it a case? Definitely not, right? You can, like, you can book it from, let's say, MMT also, make my dream. You can book it from Paytm also. Okay, you can, let's say, book it from, let's say, any website, right? You can talk about directly from Google also. Okay, you can use, let's suppose, any third party websites also, like you can use anything, right? So means what guys, even when you want to use an indigo machine, you want to book something around the indigo, but every time you don't need to visit the indigo site to book that particular thing. So what indigo is doing, indigo is providing their apis to all these particular different companies. Paytm ho gaya, mmt ho gaya, let's say directly to a Google also. Then you can talk about that. There are many, like this, but example, let's say mmt, Paytm, I can just recall those two as of now. Any, yeah, those all. Okay, so now what they're doing, let's say indigo is saying, okay, hey, can you please just do one thing, take my engine. Now see, when it says take my engine means what? It is not passing the whole code to this particular part. It is only passing one simple API. Right? Okay, do one thing, integrate your my API into your particular website, and let people book our, let's say flights even from your website also. Now, because of that, what's happening, guys? Definitely. Businesses are getting, increased, like their revenue is being generated more and more. People usually don't need to go to your website to book a particular ticket. They can directly book it from MNT also, Paytm also, or any third party app that they want to use. So what all these particular people are doing is, they are using the API of the Indigo, and then they're integrating that API inside their system. So what they can do is, they can very easily book that particular thing. Means what? Let's suppose when we are clicking on, let's say, Indigo in this website, when you are clicking on the Indigo, only the interface is Paytm. Behind the scene, the complete thing, whatever code that is being written into this particular Indigo, that is only running. So whatever money and everything that is going, it is directly going there only. So but they have their own things, right? Like whatever cut, what cut he will have, or he will have, that's the secondary thing. But this is what exactly the APIs are. So imagine a large language model that is there now. So what we are doing, we are using a large language model as a OpenAI, or we can say ChatGPT. Okay, now but just imagine, let's suppose now you want to use this particular ChatGPT, let's say in your own code. Now imagine, let's say, let me just give an example, right? Let's suppose, okay, yeah, hi, yes. Oh, my screen is not visible. Fine. Yeah, now let's say, take an example. Suppose let's say now, see here. Now into this particular project, right? Let's suppose we are just trying to build some XYZ thing. This is the code that we have written for you. Okay. In very details, I have written every single thing I have given in very simple way. This is like a simple thing you can see from the very simple prompts, right? How the prompts are there. And then in details, I have given this complete summary for you. Okay. Like it's completely written. I have actually invested some amount of time into it, like understanding of AI models, then what are the different types of prompts, basic prompt engineering, intermediate prompt engineering, advanced prompt engineering, and model selection guide. This is also very important, like what kind of task you are doing, or let's say what kind of activity you are planning to achieve, or what kind of result you are trying to achieve. So based on that, how to select a perfect model for yourself. So that is I have given, and some of the best practice and some project structure I have given. Okay, you can read about it in details. You can read about it. Okay, but imagine now. Let's suppose now. See, I want to do a certain kind of task over here. So I want to use an OpenAI over here. Let's suppose what I want to do. I wanted to use the knowledge of OpenAI. I wanted to use the knowledge of this particular Chat GPT, so that even my project will, look at it, it will work very better in simple terms. So now, is it possible for me to download the complete Chat GPT in my local system? Definitely not, right? That is like a very huge model. But I want to use it. So what they created, and they have created like an API for that particular thing. So what I told you, like if an LLM is like an, let's say in a car, you can say engine. Okay, then API is just like an, you can say, a remote for that particular thing. So you can control that particular whole engine with the help of that remote. Okay, the way you want to do it, the way you want to, let's say, mold it, it will just keep on doing that. Okay, so that is what exactly is a work of API, and that is what is the meaning of this particular term called as API. Okay, so I hope now it's clear. Yes, sir. Yeah, sure. Thank you. Everyone, is my screen visible to everyone? Yes, yeah. So guys, please keep on asking the questions, right? Whatever questions you have, feel free to ask. If you have any other questions too, feel free to ask. Okay. Okay, wonderful. Now, guys, let's suppose we were talking about the prompting, right? So that's the first thing I wanted to tell you about. So now, see, once we are done with the prompting, now then we'll move bit forward, and then I'll tell you about something called as what is basics of LangChain. You can just say, let's say this is like one of the frameworks that you have. Means what happened was, let's suppose now, whenever we were writing the prompts, right? A very simple example I'll give you. So I talk about, let's say, I think it's been 1.5 years. Okay, so we are building something for our client. So idea was what? Let's suppose they had a bunch of data. So basically that was a supply chain company. Okay, and let's say they had like a bunch of data, right? So they have the different warehouses, which kind of orders will go where. So they have like a lot of things, and amount of textual data that they have, I barely have seen to any different industries, right? I mean, they have like too much. Okay, so their official, most of their documentation is already on paper only. Like they still are not into places where, at least that company was not there, where they were using all the documentation online. It was pretty handwork and written only. So okay, that's secondary thing. Now see here, what we exactly were doing, let's say they had this whole bunch of data, and their idea was to create the knowledge graph out of it. Okay, now why exactly I'm telling you this? Now imagine, let's suppose, now first of all, one simple thing I'll tell you. uh, okay, now just imagine, let's see here, guys. Google knowledge graph. Okay, now see here, guys. Now, when I say a knowledge graph, right? Now, this is how exactly the knowledge graph looks like. Means what? Let's suppose every single entity is connected to each other. Now, let's say Bill Gates is there, so he's directly connected to, and let's say nationality is US. His, like, wife is this one. So then it is founded this founded Microsoft. Eventually, now this Microsoft is also related to Satyam Nadella. Now headquarters are in over here. So in simple terms, what, guys? Knowledge graph means what? Every single thing is interly connected like this. Okay, like this, the connections are like this now. And the Google has the biggest knowledge graph in the world, of course. Like, yes, that's fine. So they wanted to build something around their own company data itself. Okay, so the thing was that, to get such kind of results, right, to get the such kind of results, there are separate databases that we have. And the database that they wanted to use was something called as Neo4j. Okay, so this Neo4j database actually, stores the data in exactly similar way, the way I have shown you, right? So it stores the data in knowledge graph only. So it will have, let's say, two entities. Okay, and there's a relationship between them. Okay, let's say, uh, let's suppose, no, if I talk about a child, let's say child is the entity, mom and dad. These are the two different things which is connected to. So child is connected to two different entities, and he is the main, let's say, we can say, focus in simple terms. Like this, just now I showed you, like, let's say there is an let's say Bill Gates. So he's connected to Microsoft, connect to a wife connected to USA. Okay, so means what, it is called as key value pairs, right? Means what, there are two different entities, and there is a relationship between that. What kind of relationship these two different entities hold? Let's say let's say, Microsoft, and let's say Bill Gates, and let's say Microsoft. These are the two entities that we have. So they hold the relationship called as CEO, or let's say founder of this is, let's say, Bill Gates. So that is, now see, now this is the relationship that they have, and these are the two different entities that they have. So like this, they wanted to create this. So when you pass the data to a Neo4j, so what they do, in the Neo4j, you have to, there is something, they see, everyone might know about SQL, right? So in the SQL, the way we have the queries, right? We have to write the queries, select, start from tables, and like this queries we write. So in exactly similar way, the Neo4j has its own set of rules, or their language itself is completely different. Means if you want to, let's say, write the commands, or if you want to write the queries, okay, so that are called as cipher queries. Now here comes the main part. So what exactly we were doing? We were trying to write the prompt, understand here, we were trying to write the prompt in such a way that, looking at that particular data, our AI model will automatically try to build the cipher queries for that particular data ingestion. Means we wanted to ingest that data, no, we have to take this data and ingest that data into a database, right? So we were trying to figure out a query, a best possible query what we can write, or we can say a best possible prompt that we can write, so that that prompt can very very easily, create the best cipher queries, and the way we required it, and it will just pass it to the database. Means we just wanted to automate this whole process, instead of writing the, entities relationship every time. So we just created a schema of it, we just passed into an LLM, we said, okay, yeah, create the cipher queries like this. Guys, imagine, we were literally trying this for 4 days. Every day we were trying simple changes into a cipher queries, but we never got the perfect results that we are expecting. Okay, why exactly I'm telling you, guys? The raw prompts, when I say raw prompts, means what, which are written by human can be never as perfect as exactly expected by the, let's say, OpenAI model. Because see, the prompt, when I say prompts, no, you have to be like a very very simplest way. Means you have to speak in such a way. See, first of all, as I told you yesterday only, the any AI model that you talk, right, just a kid. Okay, it has recently came, so it's all the experimentation is going on currently. So it's just a kid. So in more of the simplest way you will ask, no, the better results it will give. more and more simplest way, just simply as, okay, hey, how are you, how to add 1 plus 1, that's it. People just try to complicate it. Okay, like the two numbers are given, then you have to do the addition between them. So means we we just try to simplify that. The better the simplified, better answer you can expect from the LLMs. Okay, so we literally, fought for 4 days, but we could not achieve that. After that, we just applied the langchain, as I told you about langchain, right? So we just optimize. So in this langchain, no, we have different things, like, it is just like an for orchestration. It is used for orchestration, but imagine, let's say, it has a component called as prompt templates. So what you can do is, let's say you can write your own prompt, pass it to this particular langchain, and langchain will try to optimize that particular prompt according to the requirement that you have. Okay, means whatever you want to write, no, it will see, just like, API, let's say chat GPT, right? So what chat GPT is doing, you can ask in your own terms, but it will always give you the answers in like very very perfect way. Okay, it was exactly same. So you give the prompt in your own language, so that with the help of that prompt template, the langchain will try to optimize that particular prompt, and then that optimized prompt will be passed on to the LLM, or let's say any OpenAI or ChatGPT. And guys, within 1 day, we were able to get the perfect results that we were expecting. So in simple terms, means what, guys? Definitely, the evaluation of this thing has been very very good. Okay, so definitely, so today, whatever things we'll discuss around will be around prompts that we are already doing. Okay, tomorrow we'll discuss more about how the LangChain has evolved, how LangChain actually helped to get the more better results from the LLMs. Right now, there are certain type of problems like hallucinations. Okay, hallucinations. Then too much control over to LLMs. Okay, there are few certain type of problems that we had. That problems also I'll discuss. And based on that, LangChain was able to solve that kind of problems in to some extent, not exactly, but to some extent. Okay, and after that, this particular thing, one of the biggest evaluation came into this particular domain was something called as RAG based architecture. Sorry, sorry. Okay, okay, called as RAG based architectures. Means it's called as retrieval augmented generation. And this is where the true power of LLM came into play. Right, RAG was like the biggest evaluation, like, at least according to me. Langchain and RAG was definitely, like, the game changing, because now you will see, every single job description that you see in this world, they're asking, okay, RAG, RAG. Everyone wants to be around RAG only. Okay, so what we'll be doing, let's say we'll build a very simple type of RAG, right? So we have actually built a RAG for, let's say, one of the e-commerce sites. About the policies, right? Just to update their policies. So how we did that? So I'll try to create the dummy problem of that same problem statement that we did, and we'll just try to implement that. Okay, so that, you will get this perfect idea about how exactly racks work, right? So that is what exactly my plan for 5 days, because I don't see, the point in going more details into what is LangGraph and then what is agentic AI, right? So that's like bit, ahead, and it will take some amount of time to complete. So what we'll be doing, we'll be focusing on these many parts, right? Yes, so that was the main idea. Now, guys, see here. Now, when I talk about, let's say, the simple prompts, okay. Now, we discussed about there are few techniques that we have. There are, like, multiple techniques are there. So what we'll do, first of all, let's try to understand how to write the simple prompts first. Means what? What is the idea when? What kind of thinking process we should have before applying, or let's say before writing any kind of prompt to any kind of model that you have. Okay, so before that, guys, there are few types of prompts, I'll tell you. Not exactly, let's say few short or one short in the prompt itself. So there is something called as user prompt. Okay, and there is then something called as model prompt. Second, guys. Okay, we just call, you can call it a system prompt also, it's fine, anything. Okay, now see, guys, when you talk about a user prompt, right, means what? We as a user, like, what exactly we are expecting our model to do, right? And when you talk about the system prompt, means what? The main purpose of the system prompt is to context sorry, or let's say we can just say in simple terms, let's say controls the assistance assistant behavior. Now imagine, let's suppose now, if I don't give a system prompt, right? And let's say you started talking about, let's say, river, banks, let's say such kind of words you started using, where these kind of words can be used in different domains also. So sometimes that can be a problem over here. Not exactly to this level, but up to and higher levels, it can be a problem. Okay, so we always try to define the system prompt. That is very important, because now let's suppose now you want your chat GPT, or let's say API, to do, let's say, create a poem for you, example. Okay, so then what exactly will ask as a system prompt? Hey, you are a very extra, or let's say you can say a very intelligent AI model, which is an expert in writing the poems of any kind of level. Giving, let's say, any simple word, given 2 words, given 3 words, you are expert writing the different poems to it. So now that is like a system prompt. Now what will happen? System now knows, okay, now I have to act exactly like this. Okay, now system, you are not diversifying the system. Now you are specifically, okay, hey system, you are expert in handling the backend systems, backend AI. You are, hey system, you are, hey model, you are, hey AI model, or hey chatbot, you are expert chatbot, and know everything about, let's say, front end development. So when you specifically mention that particular task, what happens? All these kind of models, so now they will exactly behave like this. Now what we are doing, we are controlling the behavior of this particular system, controlling the assistant behavior. Okay, now it should not behave anything apart from, let's say, XYZ thing. It should behave, okay, I am expecting you to be writing the code for me, so behave exactly like a coder. Don't behave like, let's say, a dancer. Simple terms. Okay. Now second thing that we have is user prompts. Now when I talk about user prompts, means what? You have to query what is the main purpose of this particular prompt, of this prompt, main purpose of this particular prompt. Okay, so now understand here, whenever we try to write any of such kind of prompts, okay, these two things are very important. You use OpenAI, you use Cloud A, you use any kind of model, a user, let's say, prompt, and the model or system prompt, these two things are very important. Okay, these two things are very important to understand, right? Okay. Before moving forward, just a small answer from everyone. So guys, everyone is with me, everyone understanding? Yes. Yeah. I think yesterday the LinkedIn was shared, right? I'm not sure. I've already told them to share, but yeah, sure. At the end, we'll talk about it. Okay. Now see, wonderful. Now, guys, let's talk about what are, see, now what I'll do. Let's say I will give you. There are few OpenAI prompt guides. Okay, that I'll give you. Okay, and now one more thing I see. Uh, as I told you, right? As a industry people know, we like our best friend is official documentation. Okay, because the kind of code, and you will get everything real there. So there is nothing changed to that particular thing. If you pick that code, that is best one. So that is like a best friend of us. Like, we usually always try to go for the official documentation only. So let's suppose I'll show you one thing. Let's say, Open AI prompt engineering. Simple. Okay. So what I'll do, let's suppose, see here, OpenAI Help Center, best practices for prompt engineering. And if you just read about this, no, they have literally given so in details about how to write the prompts. Such a details. You don't need a very fancy YouTube channels. You don't need very fancy, different, I would say, courses to learn about prompt engineering. You don't need, any kind of high level blogs to understand it. It's very simple. Okay, so see guys, now understand, they're OpenAI, it is their own model, so they know what kind of prompts actually work good on me and what kind of prompts do not work on me. So no one can tell better than this particular thing. Wherever you will see, no, you will see the same copy of this one only. Apart from that, nothing is there. Okay, so I wanted to show you this particular part, that's why I came here. Now see, whenever you try to give, or let's say write the prompts, right? So before writing the prompts, what you need to do is, you need to define your model in the system. You need to define the model in your system. Now let's say, when I say define a model, means what? In simple terms, let's say Yeah, let me show you. Where's my base file? Just a second, guys. Let me just. See, yeah, guys. So what we do, we always try to write the base first. I've written my base over here, right? Yeah. Okay. So you'll see that whenever we try to, let's say, initialize any kind of model. Okay, open, like you can see I have used the OpenAI over here. So there are certain things that we need to pass over here. We need to pass a API key. Then we need to pass which kind of model you are using, because understand, when you say chat gpt means there is not only a chat gpt, there is chat gpt 1, there is chat gpt 2.0, there is chat gpt 3, there is chat gpt 3.5, there is chat gpt 4.0, there is chat gpt 4.0 plus something like this. So there are multiple models that you have. It is just like we take, no, okay, take a basic subscription, you will have 5,000 rupees. Take advanced subscription, you will have 10,000 rupees, just like you do in the gyms, right? For the gym, let's say if you only go to a gym, pay 1,000 rupees. If you need a personal trainer, also pay 1,500 rupees. And if you need a personal trainer, let's say plus a special dietitian, also pay 2,000 rupees. So it is just like that. It's just like every single model, according to the pricing, it has its own reasoning and reasoning capabilities. So whatever kind of model you will choose, again, one more thing I'll tell you. While choosing the model, okay, it is not always compulsory that a model 4.0 is much more better than 3.5. It's not like that. It depends on what kind of problem you are trying to solve, but I would say do not go into that. So let's suppose now you have to choose the model over here. After that, we have to set something called as temperature. Now imagine, that's why I wanted to show you here. See here, look at this temperature now. See here, a measure of how often the model outputs a less likely a token. Means what? If you use the higher value of the temperature, so usually temperature value lies between 0 to 1. Okay, so if you give the value between, let's say, 0.2, or if you give the value between 0.7, so if you give the value this one, no, the model will try to create a very creative responses. Means unnecessarily it will start adding the creativity inside that. Okay, so now imagine, let's suppose you want to do a task where you need to apply more and more creativity. Okay, there is a requirement of having more and more creativity. At that particular time, set the temperature a bit higher. Okay, at the same time, when you don't have, or when you don't want to have like very high level answers, okay, you just need some kind of summary, that's it. I don't need a very creative thing into that. So try to use the, and suggestion is always that always try to keep your temperature low. Okay, because bigger the temperature will keep, no, more and more tokens it will create. See here, a measurement of how often the model outputs a less likely a token. Okay, so means what? As I told you, right? Let's suppose now for most of the fractional use cases such as data extraction, question answer test, we always try to set the temperature to be directly zero. As I told you, right? Always zero. Okay, then we need to think about something called as token size. Means what? Whenever you are giving a response, let's suppose now you ask something. Okay, as a model, let's say you have asked something to me, and let's suppose I'm using an LLM, or let's say a chat GPT. So you have a limit to control the tokens. You have to set the token limit. Okay, means it will control the length of the token, but a cutoff limit will be there. Okay, means let's say at what particular point you should stop. Okay, that's a maximum bigger reply that you can give. So like this kind of things. Okay, so these are the few things you always need to take care about writing the prompts. And even in here, like you have a lot of things. Okay, OpenAI platform itself is there. In the platform, like with particular codes itself, directly codes are given. Okay, every single thing is there. What kind of things to do for image to vision, right? How to write for the image to vision, you will see proper prompts are there, as I told you, right? As role user, whatever role that you are doing role, and you explicitly need to mention ki what kind of content that you have to give it over here. You can see here we have used a model called as 4.0 mini. Then as an input we are using role as a user, and what kind of content you are doing. Okay, input is there, and what is this particular image. Means let's suppose I'm just trying to give him the example. Okay, what kind of thing I'm expecting here. You'll see that to understand the images, to understand the audio and speeches, to understand the structured outputs, to understand the conversation systems, to understand the file systems. You are passing certain kind of file, you want to understand that every single thing is written over here. So if you go to this prompting, right, from this simple thing till this particular part, all the details about different levels of prompts, what kind of level of prompt should be there, what kind of prompt should be used. Okay, what kind of technique you will have, or let's say now let's suppose here we have given an instruction. You will see that this instruction, so this is the rule that you are defining to your model. When I talked about system prompt, right, this is that. See here, talk like a pirate. Okay, and what is input you are giving? Okay, are semicolons optional in JavaScript? It's just like in one language. Okay, so don't worry about it, but that is how exactly it is. So role, act like a developer. So you are specifically mentioned, okay, act like a developer. And your content, what is? Talk like a pirate. And then what is the user? Are semicolons optional in JavaScript? Means in simple terms, what guys, we are trying to give these kind of things. Let's say developers ho gaya, users ho gaya, whatever things we are writing. So you need to specifically mention that particular part. You are either giving a role as a, means what kind of things you have to do, and let's say as a model, okay, what, how exactly you want your model to perform. Okay, and all these particular things are given. You can read about here. Example prompt is there. A developer guides how exactly you can create a simple prompts. You will see a simple prompts are there. These are advanced prompts are there. See, few short prompting is there. Every single thing is there. Read about these things and immediately you are getting this API request and how to use it. That's it. It is that easy. Okay, so why exactly I'm telling you this? Even though I will discuss about all the different types of prompts, that is secondary thing, but having your own research, okay, searching about all these things, understanding from this official documentation is always the best thing that you can go for, right? So yeah, that was a simple thing that we wanted to add. Now see, when you talk about the prompts, right, usually we deal with reasoning models. Deal with reasoning models, right? Now when I say reasoning models means what? Let's suppose now, see, when you talk about ChatGPT, so ChatGPT ka there is something called as O3 Mini, okay, and O1. Sorry. So these are the two OpenAI models which are reasoning models. Okay, means what? Let's say whenever you want to tackle very complex problems, right? So what we do, we try to use the reasoning model so that it can break that particular problem into smaller chunks. Okay, you might have seen. Okay, if anyone might be using DeepSeek, right? So in the DeepSeek, you might have seen how exactly DeepSeek tries to, let's say break that particular problem, small. It will break into smaller chunks, right? So like this particular thing, this particular two models are there. So now see here, whenever we try to deal with, understand, let's suppose some kind of subjects, like let's say mathematics is there, example, right? Okay, you talk about, let's say okay, let's say mathematics is one, you talk about, let's say science. Okay, then let's suppose you talk about mathematics, you talk about science, let's say you talk about coding, another example, coding. Okay, so we know that in such kind of examples we have to, let's say what we need to do, we have to break down the problem in very simple way, right? Because see, you cannot give a one line answer to a mathematics, right? Or you cannot write a code in one line, single line. You need to understand, means what, you need to apply thinking over there. You need to understand, therefore these reasoning models are very important. Okay, so writing a model, let's say prompts for reasoning model, that we'll understand first, right? Now see, when you talk about a traditional GPT model, right, let's say if I talk about simple GPT model. Okay, so these GPT models, the reasoning models spend more additional time in thinking about a problem. Okay, means it will try to generate the more detailed example, or let's say anything, let's say a very detailed thing about it. Okay, let's suppose now if I okay, I can't open a GPT here. Actually logged in through company's account. Okay, let me. Okay, I think you all can try. What you can do is, let's suppose when you open a chat GPT, right? So in the chat GPT, when you search for a response, so there is very small block where reasoning is written, REASONING, right? Just click on that particular reasoning and ask any question. Then you will see that that reasoning part is slowly breaking down the whole problem. Just like we teach to our students, right? How we do? We take one particular problem, right? And then step by step we explain that particular problem. Okay, so just understand that this reasoning model is a teacher. It will try to think about that particular problem first. It will try, okay, I'm thinking about it. Then it will try to, let's say okay, now these are the kind of solutions I'm building for it, and these are the steps that I'm following for it. So like this detailed chain of thoughts they're implementing there. So in this kind of thing, there is something called as prompt, called as chain of thought prompting is used. Chain of thought prompting is used. Means what? We are allowing, or we are telling that particular model to think about it. Means what? Don't directly give me the answer. Okay, think about it. Okay, first of all, see, what problem is, then think, and then give me the details example, or let's say answer to it. Okay. So for this particular thing, whatever I told you about, like customer support that we built. So as in prompt, we have used this chain of thought only, and we use react based, react based prompts. So both the things we have used. Okay, so I'll tell you very effectively how we have used that, but yeah, before that, that is exactly the one. Now, second thing that we usually, you have to think about is managing the long conversations. Managing the long conversation. Imagine, guys, see. Now let's suppose now, imagine, let's suppose you have very smart AI model, okay? So that has ability to remember all the past conversations that you're doing. Okay, but see, again, it is just like what? It is just like a notebook, right? Means even if you have a notebook worth, let's say 300 pages, 500 pages, anything, eventually it's gonna end. There is a limit to it. After a certain period of time, it will end, right? Or what you can do now, only certain amount of, so whatever things can be stored inside that notebook, only those kind of things only will be remembered by that notebook, right? Apart from that, whatever you have in your mind, is it possible to write it there now? Notebook is full, so it's not possible. So it is what exactly this particular LLMs are. So usually LLMs are usually 1,28,000 tokens worth tokens. Means what? Example, right? Means it's like a token size is there. Okay, so it can only remember these many amount of tokens added together. Okay, apart, if you go above this, then it will not work. Okay, so therefore what we need to do, let's suppose now, whenever, so now see what I told you, when you have the long time of questions, so in that point of time, that kind of questions, always try to ask the questions in this particular way. Let's suppose now first one is there. Okay, now see here, you ask a question, right? Let's suppose now this is your input. Okay, now let's suppose, imagine now, see here, the AI is thinking about it. AI is thinking about it. So here reasoning is happening. Okay, and it will give the output. Gives output. So here output is coming. So that is like one way. And second is what? AI will try to remember your last conversation. Right now, you might have seen, right? Let's suppose now, if you go to GPT, right? So let's suppose now you started talking about, let's say, any AI model. Okay. So now let's say even after 2 days, also if you go there into the same block, right? In the same block, so it will remember all the conversation that is happening over there. If you ask, over there, very easily, it will just understand, yeah, what exactly is written out there, and then you can directly ask the follow-up question. So that is like a second term. So that's the second way to ask the prompt. Like you already have the memory stored, and automatically now you are getting, you are just starting from that particular place. Okay, so that is how exactly we deal with it. So as I told you, it has 1,28,000 limits. After that, we don't, it cannot remember any kind of thing. Okay, it cannot remember any kind of thing. So now, guys, let's say now we discussed about a lot of these things. So now, what are exactly few steps that usually we should follow? The first is simplicity is the key. Is the key. Now, when I say simplicity is the key, means what? Whenever you are engaging yourself with any kind of models, right? So it is very much essential, is essential to keep your prompts as clear and as straightforward as you can. Okay, never ever add unnecessary, in simple terms, don't add unnecessary difficulties into that. Okay, in very simple terms, in our terms, not to anyone, we just tell everyone, okay, especially the juniors that we come now, we just say don't try to be over smart. Okay, in very very simple terms, ask very straightforward, don't add any kind of unnecessary difficulties, don't add any kind of unnecessary examples, straightforward, whatever is there, simplicity is the key. Overly complex or over instructions can also cause the LLMs give the bad results, and we have seen that models, or let's say model, especially models like 3.5, right? So they get extremely confused if you try to add more and more number of instruction. Okay, so no need to write all this kind of instruction, keep it as straightforward as you can. The more and more straightforward you will ask, it will perform better. So let's suppose it is just asking, let's say if you ask a kid, hey, drink a milk. Okay, and let's say there is someone who is coming and okay, hey kid, you don't know how important the milk is for your health. It will increase your memory, it will do this for you, it will do this for that, for you. Means he's trying to tell so many things about that particular milk. The actual milk is aside only. That kid will just go away from there. He'll say okay, yeah, fine, thank you. So, okay, in simple terms, what this is how exactly this AI actually performs. Now, see, we have worked with them so closely. Okay, I mean, I'm not lying. Okay, let's see, especially like how exactly we're saying now. Let's say we were when this 4.0 came, right? So we were actually experimenting it, and one of my actually colleagues have actually he has posted the video on let's say LinkedIn also. So what we were doing, we were just playing around with it. So what exactly I asked, let's say, simple question: how many words are present in, let's say, one sentence we have given? So it had, let's say, 4 words. I asked it. Okay, it said okay, there are 4 words. Now I cross questioned it. I said okay, no, there are 6 words in it. And imagine it literally said, oh yes, I am wrong, there are 6 words. And it literally tried to explain me how there are 6 words into that particular sentence. Right, I mean, see, from here what is the main point that I wanted to tell you? You cannot be 100% relied on it. Okay, and therefore whatever kind of prompts you are writing now, try to be very very simple with it. Now see, unnecessarily what I did, unnecessarily I added a complexity over here. No, there are 6 words, why do I need to do that? So just to test that particular model we did, okay, that's secondary thing. But usually always try to keep the things as simple as that. Now if you add this particular thing, no, after this particular point, whatever questions you will ask, that particular model will be completely confused. It will never be able to give you the proper results. Okay, so therefore what I told you, simplicity is the key. So more and more simple approaches you will keep, the better for you. A simple example can be what? Let's say example, let's suppose, what are the, let's say, three main, or let's say three, let's say what are the three reasons why, uh, let's say, Roman Empire failed. Okay, example, a simple prompt, right? But sometimes what will happen, let's say there are, what kind, see, now this is like a very perfect prompt, a simple and super prompt. What can be a bad prompt? Something like this. Okay, explain in detail, like explain in detail and a very very long, let's say, format, in the economic, the social, the political, and the military reasons which are behind the fall of Roman Empire. Now imagine a simple question, you just try to exaggerate that question in very very long term. See, it's not like it will not give the answer, but you will see the difference between it. Okay, so what is the answer? Only thing you need to know is what, why exactly, what are the reasons that empire failed. Why do you need to unnecessarily ask about, okay, what are the economic, social, political, military reasons behind the fall of empire, in the most comprehensive way possible? Tell me in the most comprehensive way as possible. So when you're adding unnecessary complexity, the model will try to perform, see, it will try to give the answer, but it will try to fail to give the answer in very very perfect way. So whatever economic reasons it will give, whatever military reasons it will give, whatever social reasons it will give, those will be 90%, they will be false one. As I told you, a hallucination, we get the hallucinated responses. What exactly those are, I'll tell you, but that is what exactly it is. You get a hallucinated responses when you try to write the prompts in more difficult way. This is what exactly happen. Okay, so on a contradictory, some traditional prompting techniques that are there, okay, where we need to ask and tell them about step by step thinking. Okay, like we'll learn about something called as chain of thoughts. Okay, so in the chain of thoughts, we need to give the prompts which are step by step only. Okay, chain of thoughts means how exactly the thought should go. Do this particular thing, do that, then do this, do that, like these steps are there. Okay, so one more thing is there, more and more detailed things that you will try to add, there is a very very high chance that the performance of your LLM will can hinder. Okay, it can definitely give some kind of bad results. There is a very much possibility. Now second example could be, let's suppose now a simple prompt. Let's say, what is the derivative of, let's suppose, it's a 3x square plus 5x plus 2, something like this. Okay, and what can be, let's say, a bad prompt? You can say, let's say, calculate the derivative of 3x square plus 5x plus 2 and explain every single step as if you are writing a textbook. Okay, for a beginner with no experience. Now you just try to, exaggerate that particular prompt. It's, see, again I'm telling you, it is not like it will not give the answer. Okay, but the way it will try to answer this simple prompt will be much more sober, much more readable, much more good to your eyes rather than what you will see into this such kind of prompts. Definitely you can try it, right? You can definitely think and trying about it. Now these are the things I'm telling you, one, let's say 2 years back. So at that particular time, now you did not had a models like, let's say, 4, or let's say 4 plus is there. Now you have like a cloud is there. So these models now are like very very well trained now, and whatever previous models are there, 3.5 is there, plus version is there. So now these models have like a lot of different understanding. But when initially these models came, no, these models had like n number of problems like this. Okay, so that is how exactly we try to deal about it. uh, oh, I think we'll need a page. Wait. Okay guys, so till here everyone is with me? Yes guys. Yeah, thank you. Yes, right. Wonderful. Yes. Okay. Now let's move on and stick with us till the end, so that there are a lot of things we'll do. We'll also understand the simples of coding. I'll share this whole file with you. So definitely you can try it out. Nothing to nothing bad in giving a try. Definitely. Now see here, guys. Now when I talk about few techniques, right? So the first one that we talk about is zero shot prompting. Zero short prompting. Okay. Now understand, guys. Usually whenever we talk about OpenAI, right, the basic expectation, understand here guys, this is on a very serious note. OpenAI basically recommends starting with zero shot prompting only. Okay, means what? Try to explain the task, try to explain what needs to be done without adding examples. Okay, so that is how exactly it recommends to start from it. Means what? So now see, in such kind of scenarios, zero shot prompting, reasoning models often perform well under such kind of conditions. Whenever you talk about reasoning models, right? So they will perform pretty well under such kind of situations. Okay. So now see here, providing the accurate response without the need of giving any explicit example to it. Okay. So now see, even it very much possible in zero shot prompting, it is very much possible that you might not get the exact desired results, right? You might not get, because it's just like a simple prompting. You are simply writing, okay, let's say writing something like this: translate I love data science, something like this, into French. Okay, now let's suppose this can be an example of a very simple prompt. Okay, at the prompt, let's say, now if you want to complicate this, how you can complicate unnecessarily? That's called as a bad prompt. Maybe you can say, okay, I have a sentence called as I love data science, and I want you to translate into another language. Okay, where you can show me how it can be translated into the French. Now what you did, a simple I know, let's say simple prompt is there. You just over, let's say, over, you can say, no, you have just added much more complexity into that without without any kind of reason or without any kind of need. So I always suggest everyone, guys, and always remember, till the time your task is not very very high level, means till the time you are not doing a task, or let's suppose, now if I talk about, let's say, us, right? Let's suppose till the time I don't need to figure out the details about the architecture or the explanation of every single model, Means what? Let's suppose I'm trying to use, I'm trying to build some kind of system. So for that, which particular model should be the best one? So now in such kind of scenarios where you have to now see, you are trying to be dependent on it. So in such kind of scenarios where you have to have the very very perfect answer, such kind of complex task, till the time you don't reach it, don't try to use any kind of complex prompting. Simply use a simple prompting, that's more than enough. Okay, as I told you, simpler the prompt, better the results. But in here, in such kind of scenarios, you have to write bit complex prompt. Here you explicitly need to mention what kind of use case you are trying to solve, what kind of examples you are trying to solve, and from that examples by yourself you need to figure out few answers and pass it. Okay, this is the kind of answer that I'm expecting, and this is the kind of answer that I'm expecting from you. Okay, so as long as you are not dealing with, let's say, any kind of difficult task, right, I never recommend anyone going into details. Okay, that's like first one. Now second thing, as I told, simple prompt. Second is, be mindful. You guys say be mindful of prompts techniques. Now sounds like too much of simple things, but understand here. When I say mindful, right, so whenever you are trying to enhance any kind of model performance, guys, trust me, as I told you, right, just by changing the simple prompts, right, as I told you, I told you about that example of cipher queries, right, knowledge graph I told you about. Okay, so in that particular case, no, like initially we started with such a complex query. Okay, like we just thought, okay, we are very smart, so let's try to use more technical terms and let's try to ask him a certain question. It completely failed. The point where we came to a point where we write that particular technique, or let's say prompt, in such a simple way. Okay, like it was able to understand immediately, it was able to do that particular task. Okay, so what I told you guys, while prompt engineering, it can enhance your performance, model performance 100%. Certain techniques may not be beneficial for the reasoning models. Okay, so when you say, okay, when you talk about instruction based prompting, right, instruction based prompting means you are trying to pass the instruction. Okay, till the time you are not talking about instruction based prompting, usually we try to keep the prompts as simple as that. Means simply, let's say, solve, let's say, 12x plus 5 example, that's it. Okay, now don't have to write any complex. Okay, let's solve this particular equation, please think step by step, explain each particular calculation step in simplest possible way, do not skip any step. No need to add it. Simply write this much, automatically whatever is required, no, all the steps you will get, all the things you will get in front of you. Okay, so that is now second thing, that is be mindful about this. Second thing is, okay, leveraging the model customizability. Okay, that is not something that usually it's fine. Okay, second thing, usually that we try to discuss about is few short prompting. Okay, now see here, guys, now when I talk about, let's say, few short prompting, or let's say, now there are like multiple types of prompts that we have. What we'll do now, let's try to build one by one, and let's try to understand one by one, each one of it. Not many are there, few are there, I'll tell you in quickly, and we'll just see a simple implementation of it to see, like, how exactly these things are actually working. Okay, and yeah, through that, we can end it now, in that particular way. So first of all, guys, till here everyone is clear, everyone is with me? Hello? Okay. Guys, I was not visible to you all.
Right now, you are not visible, sir.
Oh, is it? Now am I visible?
You are not.
Okay. Oh, I don't know. Like my video is on. Sir, will you share the notes also? Of course, I'll share. Okay, I'll definitely. I think someone from the team will definitely connect, and will share the notes. I'll also share the link. Okay, you can directly access it from there also. So there is no problem. Okay, I don't know, right? Why suddenly this camera stopped? But from my end, it start, like, I can see it.
Yeah,
Okay,
yes, sir. No issue, sir. You can continue
right.
as the same.
Sure.
But even your screen is also not visible, right?
Screen,
So,
yeah, screen now it's visible. Screen is not an issue.
yeah, yeah. Now it is visible.
Yes, yes. No, no, no issue. Okay, now see, guys. Now let's talk about few things quickly. Now see, first of all, guys, it is no rocket science. Okay. Now it's not like it's just like as simple as that. As simple as the word says, prompt engineering. Right? It's like a prompt, just writing in English. Okay. So it's not gonna be a rocket science. Like whenever I'll be discussing about even the different types of tasks, right? So it's not gonna be like very different to what will be, or let's say what you will write in your own words. Okay, so now see here, first of all, guys, when I talk about the basic prompts, right? So that's like a zero shot that I already told you about. So in zero shot, let's say we do not add any kind of complexity over here. We do not add any complexity. Simply, okay, translate the sentence to a French. Okay, hey, hello, good morning, translate it to a French. That is one single line, that's it. Now when you talk about, let's say, one shot, or let's say few shot prompting, few shot prompting. Okay, now understand here, in few shot prompting, we try to provide some kind of example to the model, some examples to the model. Now imagine, let's suppose now I wanted to do it. So what I'll do, let's suppose I'll write something like this: translate to French, to French. Okay, and you can say English example, right? Hello. And let's say French, say bonjour, bonjour, right? Like this. Now English, good night. Okay, and French, let's say expired, whatever it is. Okay, so like this, now you will try to add some kind of examples to it. Okay, yeah, this is what exactly it is. Okay, so that is what exactly we called as few shot prompting. It's called as few shot prompting. Few shot prompting. Okay, so that is what exactly the few shot is. Next thing is called, now see, okay, I hope you are understanding this, right? Okay, now next thing is COT. It's called chain of thoughts. Now guys, imagine, okay, let me just now explain you like why exactly see, as I told you, right, into our that e-commerce site, right? So we actually implemented this chain of thought. So what was the core idea behind that? Let me explain that. Now imagine, let's suppose now there is a certain customer who is coming and asking, okay, hey, my order has not yet received, how long it will take? So there what we are doing, let's say first of all, there is one agent that is working. So that agent will try to first of all find the different policies. Okay, another agent will try to create the response for the let's say user. Okay, so third, let's say agent will try to print the response. Okay, this is what exactly has happened, and because of this will it might take, let's say, next 2 to 3 days to deliver your order. After that, now there is some kind of react based model in, I'll also discuss about that. Means what, it will try to ask the follow up questions. Okay, now this is done, answer is given, it will ask follow up question. Okay, would you like me to tell about, okay, this particular thing also and this particular thing also? Let's say what is a, let's say, do you want me to explain the written policies, or do you want me to explain about the refund policies? Means what, automatically based on the question that a user is asking. Okay, based on the question that user is asking, automatically it will try to add some kind of follow up questions. Automatically it will try to add some kind of follow up questions. Okay, so that is what exactly we call it as let's say, few is a COT. Now let me tell you what it is. Now when I talk about chain of thoughts, right, so means what, it is like a encouraging the model to reason everything step by step. Encouraging the model to tell everything step by step. Okay, step by step. Now let's suppose, now it can, let's suppose there's a question. Okay, and uh, let's say if, and again, guys, one more thing, okay? Till the time you don't have very complex thing to do, as I told you, right? Till the time you don't have very complex thing to do not even think about any kind of prompt techniques. Okay? If you have a simple task, a simple prompt has n number, like outstanding capability to reason and give you the perfect answers. Okay, now see, when I talk about these policies, right? So there are like multiple things that we expect over there. There are multiple things that client expects. So because of that, now we have to move in that particular way. So in such kind of high level scenario, it's fine. So as I told you, right, till the time you don't have a very complex problem, don't go for all these kind of steps. So let's suppose now if I say, okay, if a John has three apples, has three apples, okay, let's say two, and he buys two more. Example, okay. Now how many apples he has? Now how many apples he has? Example. Okay, now let's suppose now when you try to, let's say break down this particular prompt, let's say prompt. So here now you will try to break it down into simple steps. Okay, first of all, look at how much a particular person has initially, how much apple he has. Then look at, means what, see guys, now this is like kind of prompt only, right? Kind of prompt only. Here we have directly written a whole detailed prompt about it. So means what, we are asking a model to think step by step now. Now the first thing we'll ask, okay, let's say step one is think step by step. Think step by step. So what is the role of prompting here now? We'll write something like this. Okay, say, hey, you are a helpful assistant. Okay, you are a helpful assistant. Explain the mathematical problems. Okay, explain the mathematical problems in complete breakdown details. Background details about each step. Because why exactly I told you guys, if you just like that, no, let's say it is just like, okay, if you try to teach a 12th standard physics to a 10th, let's say 7th standard guy, even whatever smart that he is, okay, definitely he'll not understand that, definitely he'll get confused, definitely he'll say, okay, what is this, I don't know about it. So that is what exactly it is, right? So even if this particular model is smart, it is expecting that the kind of question should be that particular level. So if the question is, let's say, very very simple, okay, right, convert it to a French. So what do you expect it to do? Like, when you are writing a prompt, like, okay, I have one sentence. Now you have to convert that into French, French. Then tell me what are the different steps you are taking. Now just imagine what kind of steps he should even think about. Let's say if I ask you as a human being, can you think about few steps that you need to convert from any kind of sentence, let's say English to Hindi, example. So what kind of steps are there? There is no steps, right? It's like simply, okay, just convert it. That's it. So it's just like that, Whenever now see here, in such kind of scenario now, you definitely need a thinking, right? You need to break down this problem. Okay, there is apple. Then there are some apples that are being added. And now we need to make a total. So means what? There is a step by step reasoning over here. There is a step by step thinking over here. Okay. So that is what exactly called as chain of thoughts. Called as chain of thoughts. Okay, now there is one more thing that I told about. There's something called as react prompting. So I told you, right, let's say in that use case we have used this one also. It's called as reasoning and acting. Means what? Let's suppose it will also try to give you some kind of additional, means when I said, okay, reasoning, right, means what? As I told you, okay, e-commerce site is done, you have got the answer. So in the follow-up it will ask you two different things. Okay, reasoning, it will ask, okay, do you want me to tell you about this one, do you want me to tell you about this one, or it will just try to act like, let's say, any kind of helpful agent. Okay, now what you can do is, if you want the more details, okay, click here. If you want to visit and read about more about policies, click here. Means what? It is just like a reasoning along with whatever prompt you are writing. Along with that, we are just trying to add some kind of reasoning to it. Along with that, we are just trying to add the reasoning to it. Okay, guys. So and now, tomorrow I'll tell about RAG. So RAG is also like kind of a prompt technique only. Okay, it's also a prompt technique only. A complete RAG based architecture is a prompt technique. So it's just like combination of multiple combination of multiple prompts. Okay, it's called as RAG architecture. Okay, so that I'll tell you tomorrow, that we'll discuss about it. So guys, first of all, before moving, understanding about anything further, so did you all understood the today's session? Like, definitely we'll go a bit into an implementation to understand what it is. Yes, everyone. Okay. Oh yeah, I get it. You are on movie. I know. Okay. So fine, 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 wonderful. So I hope guys, you are able to understand this complete thing, whatever things we have done till here, right? Okay. Now, yes, yes, sure. I'll share the notes itself, right? First of all, I'll share you that this complete link that I have. So this is basically a GitHub link. Okay. So on the GitHub, you will get this complete code. Okay. So all this particular code, all the details that I have seen, no. So those all the things you will seen on the GitHub. Okay. So yeah, this is the profile you can take. Okay. Now let's discuss about this one. Let's talk about how exactly this code. No, sorry. Yeah. Okay. So now let's discuss about how exactly this particular certain things are working here. So first of all, everyone just confirm if the code is visible to everyone. Yes. Fine, right? Yeah. Okay. Guys, now understand here. See, code is not visible. Oh, yes, yes. Now see here, guys. First of all, okay, for there are multiple things which are together. So wait here. Okay, now see here, guys. So first of all, okay, now whenever we try to write any kind of codes, okay, so there is a certain structure that we have to follow to write the codes, right? Now these are like say production level structures that we follow. Like first of all, there is something called as env file that we need to create. So it is just like a virtual environment. So when I say virtual environment means what? Let's suppose you are expecting this whole code to run in certain kind of environment. Okay, means what? You don't want to change the environment every time. Okay, this is the environment now. Whatever dependencies are there, whatever things you are used in this particular code will be used for this kind of project only. Apart from that, you cannot unnecessarily incorporate anything inside it. Okay, so we have to create this env files over here. Now there is something called as env file, dot env file. This is like a virtual environment, this is like dot env file. So when I talk about dot env means what? See here, as I told you yesterday, right, you directly cannot expose your apis. जो भी आपकी ओपन एआई की होगी, जो भी आपका होगा, you cannot expose the apis, expose the apis. Okay, as I told you, it's just like a secret key, right? If anyone is using your api key, just imagine he can just use it in his own system, and he can literally do whatever things he want. He can run the models and all. So unnecessarily you are being charged, you will be billed for that, right? So therefore we always try to avoid it. Okay, we avoid uh, yes, yes. Okay. What we do, we try to avoid using this kind of thing. So therefore, this env file is there. So this env file is always a secret file. So here now I need an OpenAI key. So this is just like a system key. So I have not run this code. Okay. So you have stored this env key over here. Now as the project will change, let's suppose now there is this particular project. Now for that, the way kind of things will now see here. Here you might require some other things. Now let's suppose, okay, that's fine. Okay, but see, as the project will change, the requirements will change. Okay, the env files will change. You will require different things. Now let's suppose in this project if I show you, so as the kind of secret things will increase, you can actually get this particular part. Okay, your env files will change. So let's say env file, and let's suppose after that you have requirements file. Means what are the different things actually required in this? So I will need about OpenAI, I will need a Python, Pydantic. I need about setting files, and I need about extensions. So now see here, that is also fine. Now what I did, let's suppose सबसे पहले we have created this a basic file. Now let me tell you what exactly it is. So these are expert level prompts. Now first of all, see here. Now see here. Whenever you will see that the whole structure is written over here. See, you can see this basic to advanced prompt engineering. Inside this, you will see that there are advanced level prompts are written, there are basic level prompts are written, and there are intermediate level of prompts are written. Now you might say, okay, what is this util files, config files? Just imagine utils is just like a settings file. Okay, so here you need to store the complete settings or the base model that you have. You will see this base model, right? Base prompt engineer. So this base prompt will be used for all the different models that we'll write. So here we have defined the base prompt. So what are the things that we need? First of all, we have created an OpenAI simple object. So you can see that the same code is used everywhere. Okay, so now you need OpenAI key. So that key we have taken it from the OpenAI key. So here in the settings you will see that in the config file you will have settings.py. So see here we have loaded the OpenAI see key over here. See here I have loaded the key over here. I have named, okay, what is the name of the model that I want? I want to use a no, GPT-4 turbo preview. The temperature I'm setting it to be, let's say 0.7, but let's say I'll set it 0.5. And let's say maximum token size I want to give it, let's say 2000. So now what happened, guys? Now all these particular things, right? So all these particular things are now fixed. Okay, now you have fixed them. So now they will not change. What we'll do is, from here you will just try to import these particular statements different places. Now see here we have this settings.py. So you'll see that, inside this file, in the prompt engineer file, you will see that from config, see here, from config dot settings, see dot settings, we have imported this particular settings over here. See, all the settings are settings over here, setting files over here, class we have imported. Okay, and from that class we will see that now what we are doing, settings.openai key I'm taking, model name is setting.model name, temperature is setting.temperature, and we have set it here. Now see again, why exactly we are doing this, guys? Because what I told you, we cannot directly expose the hard coded values anywhere, and that's not, even it do not look good, right? Let's suppose instead of writing model name, let's say if you write model name over here, it's not like it will not work. You will write something like, okay, turbo, or let's say GPT-4 means something like this. But see, guys, in the production, when we write the codes in the production, this looks very nasty in simple terms. Like, we don't expect this. We always try to write the codes which are very structured. Okay, so this is never recommended, and we don't even write such kind of code. So it's just like an, now you imagine, right? Let's say you are not writing any hard coded thing here. Whatever you are writing, it's all the objects you are importing from here and there. Now, similarly, I have set all the temperature and everything over here. And finally, now let's suppose you are writing def generate response. Now here you will pass a system response and self your own prompt response. So what you're doing, role is there, system role is there. So you'll pass a system message over here. Similarly, role is here. You can pass your own user message over here. Okay. So this is how exactly the complete base prompt is written. Now let's go to the simple prompts here. Now you will see that engine has a simple prompt engineer. Now print a basic prompt example. Let's suppose now what is prompt? Okay, machine learning. Now this is a topic that I have, and what is the role that I'm giving? Okay, the role is that you are a Python developer and tell me how to optimize a, let's say, for loop. You are a Python developer and tell me how to optimize a for loop. Okay, so that is a simple prompt that we have used. That is into the very very basic prompts. Now it is like a zero shot prompting. Now here you are not giving any kind of example, zero shot prompting. Now if you talk about, it's an intermediate level. Okay, now here you will see that here we have few short prompting examples. Now see, now here are the examples. Input is, let's say, hey, please solve the similar type of problem. I will see that. Now see here prompt, how the prompt is there. Let's think about this problem, problem carefully. And what is the problem? So this problem we have imported from here. Okay, now see, first let's understand what we are trying to solve. Then let's break it down into logical steps. So for each step, we'll explain our reasoning step and finally combine all of your thoughts and reach to a final conclusion. Okay, and guys, now understand, this is how exactly we are using this chain of thought prompting. Okay, means different things are, different prompts are written for this particular complete chain of thoughts. So tomorrow, when we'll discuss about some kind of project, no, whenever we'll discuss, at that time I will show you, like, how detailed prompt we write for every single kind of thing. But now here you can clearly see, right, how clearly we have mentioned the kind of problem that you have, the kind of solution that we are expecting from him. Okay, now here there is a self consistency prompt. Means what? Let's try to solve these particular problems in different ways. So for each approach, explain the reasoning, show the solution, and discuss the pros and cons. Means whenever it will try to give the answer, automatically it is trying to show you the reasoning also. Automatically it will also try to discuss what are the pros and cons also. You don't explicitly need to write about it. Okay, and finally let's try to compare all the approaches you are taking, and finally then try to generate one best option for it. Okay, so this is how exactly now we are using this advanced level prompts. Now see, what are the examples we are taking? Let's say input is convert 100-degree Fahrenheit, okay, 100 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. Now what is output? To convert a Celsius to Fahrenheit, 100 degree into 9 by 5 plus 32. That's the example that we have. So like this, now we have explicitly adding the examples over here. See here, fish short permitting, I told you, right? Explicitly we are adding the examples over here. Okay, and okay, yeah, that's it. Okay, so that is how exactly we try to write such kind of intermediate level prompts. At the same time, when we talk about, high level prompts, so now this is called as a tree level prompts. Now along with chain of thoughts, here now we will try to go into every single thing, whatever kind of things you will ask. Now let's suppose now you ask a question, so automatically it will try to say, okay, what are the strengths that particular question has, what kind of weaknesses that particular question has, and what are the assumptions that it can give from him, like from the model side, to optimize that particular thing. Okay, so in this particular way, now we are just trying to get the tree of thoughts over here. So guys, see guys, as I told you, It is just like a way to write it, right? So it all depends on the kind of problem we are trying to solve. If the problem is very very difficult, definitely then we try to go for more and more advanced level prompts. But at the same time, it's not that difficult, we just try to go in a simple way. Okay, that is how exactly we try to deal with this kind of things. Okay guys, so first of all, not too much talking. Yes, I'll push this code to my GitHub, right? And okay. Oh, I think I need to initialize. Okay. No, I need to push this code. Okay, it will just take some kind of time. Okay. Right. Okay. So still, I just need to connect it because I have written this code newly only. So I still need to figure out. I still need to connect this to my GitHub, and I'll share every single code to GitHub itself, right? So directly you will see that. So on my GitHub, I'll directly share the link with the management, so they can directly share that link with you. Okay. So from there, you will get every single thing. Oh yeah, see here. Here you have no readme file. Every single thing is written over here. Just click here. Properly, all are clickable on. See, understanding this, you will get here. Click onto this basic to advanced prompt, click here, you will get it here. So very detailed, I have written it. Complete details, like not a single thing. Along with that, the complete project architecture is also written over here. So from the basic, we created a basic folder. In that we have simple, basic prompts. We created intermediate folder. There is intermediate prompts, advanced folder like this. Utils files is there. We have created a base prompt for the engineering class. Then we have settings files, env files, requirement files, and random files. All the things are perfectly explained over here. How to run that particular thing? Let's say now I will push everything to my GitHub. So then how to take all these particular things on your system and how to run that particular thing, that also I have shown you over here. Okay. So all the things you will get like very simple, you will get it here. So all the things are written in very perfect way. Okay. Okay guys. So I hope screen is not visible. Yeah, it was visible. Okay. So guys, everyone, was it, everyone understood like today's session? Everyone was able to figure out or understood at least few part of it, some part of it. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I know you are on good. Yeah, guys, any doubts to anyone? Anyone have anything? Yes. Thanks. Can you start tomorrow with a recall of today's code? 100%. Okay, definitely we'll do that, right? So, what we'll do is, so maybe what I'll do, I'll try to explain that code again if you want, right? So maybe what we can do is, anyhow we're gonna write the codes also. So what I'll do, let's write it then tomorrow, right? So my plan was to cover RAG, okay, but we'll start from here. I'll share the GitHub link, okay. What I'll do, let's first of all let me share the GitHub link itself, and I'll just push the code here itself, okay. Now again, guys, you don't see this. Most of the code is not no, pushed over there, and there are a few codes which are closed ones, which are like, so you can just take this one as of now, and so just keep my GitHub. So on the GitHub itself I'll update it, okay, and I'll also share with the management, so they can also share it with you on the group or whatever it is, right? So that can also be done. So like just like an keep this GitHub. So like within some time you will see the complete reflected code over there. So the name will be exactly same, right? So name will be exactly same, like basic to advanced level prompt engineering. So that will be the code only. So there you will see the complete code that is being written over there. Sir, in simple words, prompting is asking AI model to get the work done. Exactly right. So I told you, right? Just writing English, writing English in more, I would say, better way. The kind of task you are doing, writing English in that particular way. Okay. So if you were yesterday we discussed a lot of things about how not only prompting is like important thing. Okay? That's like a least important thing when you talk in terms of, let's say, a production level use cases. That's the least thing that we could think about. Like prompting is okay, it's okay. There are a lot of aspects now. Something called as RAG, I'll tell you. Okay, this RAG is gonna be like a game changer. I mean, you will feel it. Okay, like and capabilities that RAG has actually brought. That's like a very, so it's just like you can imagine that as a high level prompt engineering technique example. Okay, so that complete RAG we'll discuss tomorrow, like end to end. Simple RAG, advanced RAG, whatever RAGs are there, I'll try to explain. Okay, and we'll also try to implement some kind of RAG. Okay, means what? Indirectly, how you can directly talk with your own model, or let's say your own system, a set of data. Let's suppose you have. So currently, what we're doing, let's say, I'll just explain this example to you. Okay, just allow me 1 minute, last 1 minute. So, for someone, we are building something called as a second AI brain. Okay, and guys, what I think, let's say this is gonna be super useful for the student, especially for the teachers, right? Because see, now usually what you have, let's say you have the bunch of data that is stored with you, right? Like you have to handle the notes for every single class. There are multiple classes that you have, different sections you have. For every single section, then there are like multiple you have like multiple, you can just imagine for every single session you have different multiple notes are there, different chapters are there, right? So for all of them, then you need to maintain their attendances also, you need to maintain their resources also, okay, what they're uploading, what they're doing, right? So in simple terms, like you have a lot of things to manage, right? So for on a personal level, along with that, you also need your own calendar kind of thing. Like you need to check, okay, when the sessions are there. So in simple terms, what we are trying to build some AI brain for someone, like called a second AI brain. So how many of, I don't know if you know about something called as Notion. How many of you heard about it? Not sure. So usually, what they do, let's say many of the teachers have started storing everything in the Notion, right? So Notion, you can just imagine an app where you can schedule your own interviews, store your data, okay, then store your links, store your personal data, store your professional data, let's say write the notes, store the books. Means what? At one single place, every single thing is there. So when we say second brain, means what, guys? Apart from our personal things, these are the things that are important in the life, right? So what we are trying to do, we are literally trying to automate this whole thing. Means you explicitly don't need to look for anything. You just need to say, okay, yeah, tomorrow I have a session for uh, third year B batch, and this is a topic that I want to do. Prepare the complete notes. Okay, it will do a notes. Okay, now schedule that particular class and set me a reminder 5 minutes back. Okay, I'll do that. Okay, if it's an online session, okay, create a Zoom meeting link and share it with me. Okay, I'll do that. So in simple terms, it's very effective, right? Means very easily now. You explicitly don't need to do anything. Now imagine it happens, right? Let's say you have such a huge amount of books and text and everything. So sometimes you have to like keep on searching, okay, where I've kept it, even in the systems you don't find it, right? So here what you need to do, okay, don't need to do anything. Okay, this is what exactly is the type of title of that particular book or title of that particular notes I've stored in this whole database. Just search me where it is and just give me that. So within a second you're getting that. Now let's suppose, imagine tomorrow you got, let's say, 20 PDFs at once, and someone told you, okay, you need to write and explain these 20 PDFs in one single go. What you can do? Either you will pass this to a GPT and you're like, okay, now just try to build some kind of summarize this, or simply what you can do is, here you can pass it and you can ask whatever kind of questions you want to ask to this particular GPT. So inbuilt, we are using some kind of OpenAI model only, not exactly OpenAI, but open source model. And then we are trying to query every single thing that you are asking. All the different APIs are connected. Means Zoom meeting links, links are connected. Then Notion APIs are connected. So we are gathering all the data at once and trying to automate all these particular tasks. So this is gonna be like, it's making very easy for the students actually. Sorry, teachers actually, not students. Even teachers, students are also using, no, because they also have like bunch of notes. They have to store notes, they have to store the YouTube channels, they have to store the links. So sometimes what we do, okay, we have gone somewhere and we saw, okay, this particular blog is very nice. But we just see that and suddenly we forget to save it, or we just save it in the system and that just goes vanishing off. It is, will never find it. So you store that into that particular let's say Notion. You'll always get that particular. So there are like simple things, definitely like much more things are there where you can automate such kind of task in a very simple way, right? Okay. So, guys, thank you so much, everyone. It was wonderful talking with you all, and I hope you might have had like a lot of, might have gained definitely much more insights today also, yesterday also. If you have whatever feedback you have, right, you can definitely share it with us. And yes, okay, be in touch, and tomorrow I'll see you.
Yeah, thank
Yes.
you so
Thank you
thank you so
so
much.
much. Yes,
We'll
thank
meet again by tomorrow at 3 p.m. Yeah, so dear faculty members, I hope you all mark your attendance. As you all know, please, it's a reminder, please mark your attendance. It will be active only till 5:30. So before that, please mark the attendance. Okay. Yeah, and some are asking for yesterday's attendance, as we already informed. Only 1 hour the attendance link will be active. That is from 4:30 to 5:30. So yesterday's attendance link, which is already closed, you are not able to mark your attendance. So if you missed out to mark your attendance by yesterday, no issues. Please mark your attendance by today without any fee. Okay. Yeah, so we will wind up for the day. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for your valuable class. Thank you, dear faculty members, for joining this session. We'll meet by tomorrow. Thank you.
yes, thank you so much, everyone. Bye bye.